Right,
Sweet.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Thanks for coming in, man.
Oh.
It's Sunday. I love a good Sunday podcast.
Yeah.
And it works out pretty well with a lot of people as well. I know you got a family, so thanks for coming in, man. Taking the time.
No problems, man. Thanks for having me.
So what's isolation been like for you, mate? Like what's been going on? Obviously none of the gigs at venues and stuff, but what have you been up to?
Oh, it's been a real process, to be honest.
Yeah.
The whole well, to a degree shock at first, and frustration.
Yeah.
And I got quite angry, and I even got quite depressed at one stage.
Yeah.
And then accepting what it was.
Yeah.
Getting through that and realizing what I can control, which was still doing music and writing music and releasing.
Yeah.
And just keeping in contact with everyone, and everyone's in the same sort of boat, really.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone can relate to it. Everyone probably went through those same things you're talking about. If they maybe they didn't realize it, but like they actually did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing. Like, I'm one of the few people I know that's actually going, "Oh, I got depressed and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Because that's my way of reconciling with it.
Yeah.
But I can see it through other friends and just posts people are putting up all the time, and because we're all sort of laughing about it just before it happened. Like, there's no toilet paper.
It was a bit, it was a bit of a joke. Yeah, there was heaps of jokes and stuff.
And then it just took the legs out, and because this is our industry and we do for a living and what we love to do.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't know what you've got till it's gone too, isn't that so right?
Yeah.
Like that's something that I realized, and I think the last time I went out, I hopped around a heap of different clubs. Like went to Prohibition. I think you guys might have been playing. You and Josh actually that time, whenever it was.
This is the last week, so
yeah. And then I think I went out to Met. Like I never go to Met.
Mm.
And I was at Met. It was just so strange that the last time I went out, I literally just like went around everywhere to places that I don't go and that. So it's funny how it all sort of.
Was it a similar vibe everywhere?
Oh, everyone was just having, their normal vibe that they have at that club, but it was a good night still. Like,
I found people were partying like it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't as big a volume, but they kind of knew, like, oh, yeah, doors are going to shut. So, like, we were having some great gigs towards the end.
No one knew for how long or what was going to happen or anything, but it was just, people were just like, let's just get out there and have a good time before it ends. Yeah.
Well, we can because, the whole thing's been a week by week sort of process.
It changes like every week,
Yeah,
like
now you can do this, now you can do that.
Now you can do this. Yeah. Oh, no, you can't do this. That's like I saw like Sub Rosa, they've got to have the sit down thing now. Because did you play there the other week at the Micro Club?
Yeah, man, I played there last Saturday.
Yeah. How was that? Because
I had a great time.
Could they dance at that stage, or were you there for that? Because didn't the police come through and say no?
I missed all of that. I got told that later.
So did you get there after that had already happened?
I was there before it happened. So I did like a early evening set, like 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Because I had other plans. And it was all marked out. It was all by the book. People were seated down. And you were allowed to get up, I think. Because the dance floor was marked out. And it was kind of funny. It's like, well, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
But people were kind of following the rules at the beginning. And they did something quite smart. Like they brought like big pool toys. So it would actually fill out the space. But I'm guessing, a club, you're not meant to you're meant to come together, and it's an organic thing, and it kind of builds from there.
It's not going to be like, here's your square, here's your square, here's your
bro
square, and don't move from the squares. You see someone on the other side of the dance floor and they're like getting right into it, and you're like, I want to dance with that person, like you want to go over there and hang out and meet them, like
oh man, like the first thing I did when I saw the guys I was playing with, the Moose Swing guys, we all gave each other a hug. It's been like 3 months we've seen each other. We were just like, oh, how you doing? And but it was still this awkward feeling of like, what do we do?
This is kind of, are we hugging?
We're breaking the rules.
Are we allowed to hug?
Someone's watching us. But I'm not surprised it eventuated into that. Not trying to break the rules, but that's the way a club's designed, in my opinion.
A club's designed to break the rules. Is that what you reckon?
Oh, but people to come together. To huddle and like.
Which is not what they want us to do at the moment. I think Victoria's not doing too well down. They just had a heap of new cases, which is
real
not good for them. So that'll be interesting to see what they do down there. But we're looking pretty good up here, I think, so far. Like things are looking hopeful.
Yeah, hopefully.
And so, how was that last week at the?
It was awesome.
The Micro Club, that's what they're sort of calling it, I think, because it's like 20 people at a time, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been asked to do a couple of the live streams, and just family commitments. My partner had to go back to work a bit more, so I've been
Yeah.
just looking after kids and
So you're the
stay-at-home daddy.
stay-at-home dad at the moment. How's that been? Has that been good or challenging? I imagine it'd be both.
It was challenging. It's always challenging with
Yeah, yeah.
kids anyway, but for what was going on and to the emotions at first, and then the kids, they got no idea.
How old are they? Yours?
1.5 and 3.5.
Oh yeah, so
So-
they don't know what's going on.
Nah,
They're
they just see
they're
it, grab it,
yeah,
break
yeah.
it, have fun, scream, cry,
Yeah.
and it's about
That's
them.
kind of good though that they don't really know what's going on. If they're like
Yeah.
another 5, 6 years older,
Yeah,
when they're when they don't understand, but they're like, why can't we do all these things? I think.
because the world's gone crazy. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really refreshing
Yeah.
because you could not. Till this day, it's not as bad, but you could not have a conversation about COVID.
Yeah.
So it's just this cloud
Yeah.
of this everything dictates everything.
Yeah.
And they will be like, okay, can you swear on this?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, man.
Nah.
I love it when people ask that. Just like, man, there's no rules. Like, fucking do whatever you want.
I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
um,
go for it. You can definitely swear.
They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, let's play as Superman, Spider-Man. That's why I was late today because I was being Thanos and like son
Yeah,
was
that's
being
so cool.
Spider-Man.
And I miss that, having that, like, that would have been so handy in ISO to have that, like, imagination that a child has where they can just literally be in a room, there's nothing, and they can make up them, like, have the best time with like some crazy game they've just invented on the spot. They're like,
it's better than being like
hectic.
a cynical adult and you're like, man, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
But
I'm
no,
stuck inside, I can't do anything.
yeah. No, that was really refreshing. Challenging as well.
Yeah.
Because not being able to, first do gigs.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have time to write music. So I just wasn't doing music for like a month.
Yeah.
Plus coming to terms. So I think everything came together.
Yeah.
At a shitty time. When things were going really well for me anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, it has been good because they're only this age once.
Yeah.
So may as well enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said about hanging out with, like youth and stuff. Like, I reckon it makes you feel younger. I don't know how you feel about that. How's that been for you since you've had your kids? Have you felt younger or have you felt older? Maybe it's different.
Older.
Maybe it's different for me because I don't have to look after them 24/7. I can like hang out with them and then go, all right, go back to your parents.
Yeah, you can be the cool uncle.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, why can't you be like him all the time?
Yeah.
Because then you got to be the guy go, do this, pick up that.
Yeah, when they're actually playing up. Or,
Yeah.
Cranky, yeah.
That's been good, man. I mean, I'm kind of used to not getting sleep on the weekends from gigs, but then I could sleep in afterwards.
Yeah.
And the kids don't care. They just
No.
hit you in the head at 6 in the morning. You come home from club at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. You can do it. It is possible to do.
You got a good team around you. Anything's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got a great partner, and she's very understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how do you go with then I'm just imagining like at home the dynamics. Like how do you practice much these days playing
Yeah, I still practice.
sax and stuff?
Yeah.
And so when do you choose your times to practice? Obviously you've got to be mindful of when you're playing and that kind of thing. Is that right?
Oh, my kids go to daycare twice a week.
Yeah. There you go. Practice time.
Bam. So practice, write tunes, and just treat it like, I guess, your own working day.
Yeah.
Like I'll actually type things down I want to get done, and
Yep.
so yeah, just trying to keep up to date with what is going on,
Yeah.
like musically.
Mhm.
Like normally, if COVID didn't hit, it'd be going along.
Yeah,
like
just
this,
to be popping. Yeah, yeah.
what tunes are cool, what sound is in, what's working, what's not working. And it's just like everyone's kind of like writing like nice at home music at the moment.
Yeah, well, because it's like, what do you like? There's no poppin' club.
Yeah.
You don't see the after movie of a club and some new track that someone's played in it or whatever, and go,
Yeah.
oh, that's a cool like tune. It's just like sort of like, well, people are just listening to anything at the moment, whatever
Yeah.
they want. It's really
That's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting then when everything goes back. It's like, how much do you have to play to the crowd now? Or can you just sort of play? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's going to be an
yeah.
interesting change in dynamic. It's like, will they just be so happy to be out that you can play whatever you love and they'll love it? Or
Yeah.
are you gonna still have to,
I think you might have.
like pander to them and play the tunes they know?
Yeah.
And what tunes do they know? Like, what is the, at the moment, like what's
Well, I'm trying to like.
it's hard
I'm a
to
bit older.
yeah.
So like I don't go out with all my younger. I got younger friends, but
Yeah.
all my mates are a bit older. We don't
Bit
all
older,
go
yeah.
out. So that whole culture of like what's going on, you exchange information all the time.
Yeah.
So I went out on a limb and I contacted my 18-year-old nephew,
Yeah.
and I said, just as a joke, because he's all over every social media and technology platform. I said, so what are kids doing these days? How do you tell what's cool or what's going on? He's like, to be honest, TikTok. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no.
I was about to say to you TikTok, yeah. But you know what's really funny? Like, I listen to a lot of like social media things now, like marketing and all that, and someone said that they asked their younger,
Yeah.
like nephew or whoever it was, and said like, what's the cool places to be on socials, and what is it about them?
Yeah.
And one of them described it. They said, you go to Instagram to feel bad about yourself,
Oh.
but you go to TikTok to feel like fun, like to have fun and feel good about yourself. Because like Instagram's real, like everyone's got the best photos and
and these amazing looking people.
yeah, and all the best parts of their life. But then TikTok is just like this funny little goofy thing where people are just having fun and doing whatever. So I think it's
okay.
That's
a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, and I think that's important to think about, like why you go to a platform, like why do you go to Instagram? What do you go there for as a user? What do you go to Facebook? What do you go to TikTok for?
Yeah,
and it's slightly different on all the platforms.
Yeah,
like, it's slightly different thing you're looking for.
I think like one thing, like, there's so much variation in different people.
Yeah,
I think one easier way to maybe put groups of people is like generations. So like I heard a comedian saying like he was probably mid 20s or something, and he said old people use Facebook like Twitter. That is say what they're feeling.
Yeah. Whereas Twitter's more like you just like put little tweets out, like whatever you want. Like you can do that on Twitter. You can just go blah blah blah, like one line sentence or whatever, and just be like, Whereas Facebook, for a lot of us, is a little bit more structured and informational based. I think. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more open. I pretty much just use Facebook, and I've joined Instagram like a year ago.
Yeah.
So like at first at Instagram, I was like, what's the whole point?
We're just showing photos and
I didn't know like what it's a different kind of banter as to Facebook. It's a different group, and then like I never really knew the power of an influencer, or they could have it's something to aspire to for some people.
Yeah.
Because Facebook, you're still fairly just a big group of people.
Yeah.
And everyone's sort of equal. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Facebook's a funny one.
Yeah.
So what instruments do you play? I know you obviously play sax.
Yeah.
You mainly do you use is it a tenor that you use at most of your gigs, or is it alto? I can't remember.
Tenor.
I thought it was tenor. Yeah.
For my club gigs, I tend to use tenor.
What's the reason for that? I mean, I know I probably know the reason, but for everyone else out there,
well, it's I guess a personal thing. I like the body and power a tenor has, like in the
lower
ranges.
ranges as well.
Lower and mid, and
Yeah.
To a degree, it sort of fits my own vocal range, so I feel comfortable with that. I also play alto, but I play more on bar gigs. And in a big system, I feel for me in the mouthpiece I use, it kind of punches through better than alto. I have brought both and set them up at like bigger band gigs, just because that's what I play on the track.
Yeah, that's what like. I feel like alto is. I suppose it depends what kind of music you're talking about, but like tenor is far more of a whole rounded instrument for a solo sort of like thing that you do with with the dance music stuff. Whereas like I feel like alto would be like more of a. It doesn't carry it just doesn't have that power in the low end for when you want to maybe do that stuff. It's not as flexible in terms of that. Maybe that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, you can really rip on an alto.
Oh yeah.
The strengths are in the higher ranges often. I just gravitate to a tenor because I was a clarinet player for years.
Same fingering. There you go.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah, it's like second nature to you.
I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, clarinet and tenor sax it's very similar. Isn't there an extra key on the tenor that you can use for octaves instead of changing? I don't know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should know this.
It's pretty nerdy stuff, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
they're sort of sculpted around the same sort of
yeah.
keys
Fingering
and
and
key.
stuff like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was an
It's
easy
in the same
translation.
key too, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like you just think in that respect because I was much higher trained on clarinet than I
Yeah.
was on sax.
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a
Have you ever
classical
played
nerd.
like a soprano sax or anything like that, or
I
baritone sax? Have you ventured into those?
I love to have a Barry, but
Yeah.
it's so much
how
diaphragm.
baller would that be? Rocking up to a gig like a gig at Prohibition up the front with a big baritone sax. That'd just be.
Oh, it would blow
that'd
some
be
people's
sick.
minds.
Yeah, because a lot of people probably haven't seen a baritone sax. Like
It's quite a ridiculous looking instrument. Not to
it's
bag
it's,
on it, but
it's
just,
hectic. Yeah.
it would come up to probably just below my shoulder.
Mm.
Like 10 is big enough for me. That's half the size of my body. And I got to power that thing.
Usually you're sitting down when you play a baritone sax.
Yeah,
Probably could stand.
yeah. You'd need like a
Pretty heavy though.
a back brace. It's so
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about soprano sax? Have you ever played one of them? The little.
Oh
little
yeah.
ones?
At the music store, had a couple of goes. They're nice.
Yeah,
a
they're
different-
interesting, weird tones as well. Hey, like obviously the higher ranges, but
Yeah, it's very pretty, almost fluty.
mm,
No, like each instrument they have different strengths.
yeah,
If I could afford, like, I just love acquiring instruments.
yeah. So if you could afford one of everything, would you?
Yeah, like I like
Yeah.
to learn something weird, like a sitar or
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I've got a didgeridoo at home. Like I play a lot of weird different things just at home.
Yeah. So what
Um,
else do you play then? So you said your
Uh,
clarinet was your main instrument. Is that right then? Would you say?
When I was younger,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I did all my music lessons and
Did you ever
orchestra
do
stuff.
grades?
yeah, I got
What-
pretty high in
grade-
grading.
What grades? What grades
I
did you do?
think I may have got to 8.
Yeah, I did 8 on
Um,
trumpet. back in
Yeah,
the day,
so
yeah,
then
M,
8 and then
B,
it goes
yeah.
up.
And then it goes to A mus, B mus. and then
Yeah.
it's like hectic. It's like no, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's if you're serious about it, I'd recommend moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. If
But-
you're gonna go to the con or you're gonna do something
Yeah.
proper with it, like then you should probably do more. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the young con for clarinet and sax.
Yeah. Cool.
But then it got to a point where I was like, oh, am I that dedicated to classical music?
People don't understand how
You got to be a gun.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How good of a musician you have to be like a classical, like first clarinet in the Queensland, Philharmonic,
It's
and
only-
even
only
that's
4
not.
spaces or 3 spaces.
Yeah, and that's not even like that's just Queensland, like that's not even the best in Australia or
Yeah.
anything. And it's like people don't understand that those guys can just sit down and like read music and just play it.
Yeah,
It's like they don't really need a conductor. Like the conductor's there for the little extra,
yeah.
like
people
the-
can just read like
Yeah.
pages just like in a
Yeah.
book straight away, which I was always terrible at reading.
Same.
music.
I was always so bad at sight reading. I remember in the exam, the sight reading bit came up, like because there's a sight reading
Yeah.
part in the exam.
Remember
And
those?
I was just like, I was dreading it the whole time.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, I know I'm going to be so bad at this. Like, yeah.
You're just sitting there kind of counting and going, dun, 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 dun. Like it's
Yeah.
not to say it doesn't sound like music, but you're just translating.
Yeah, you're
the
trying to
point.
figure it out. And then but for me,
Mm.
someone could then play it to me and then I'd go, oh, sweet. And then I'd be able to just do it. Like,
yeah, ear guy.
as soon as I can hear it and then see it as well, I can
Yeah.
go, oh, yeah, I know how it's meant to sound now.
Yeah.
Just hearing it that first time, but
Yeah.
you don't get that luxury when you're sight reading.
Well, I had to find that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I switched to sax.
Yeah.
And then to jazz, and then they just said stuff like, "Well, now improvise." I'm like, "What's
Yeah.
that?" And
What's
like,
that?
We're
Yeah.
gonna play this, and then you play what you translate. I'm like, "You can do that?"
Yeah.
And that just opened up a
Improvisation's
door.
Such another skill. Did you ever do clarinet in jazz? Because I absolutely love clarinets in like jazz sort of groups and stuff. It's got that
Yeah.
tone to it. Like it's so.
Well, they used to be the lead guys. Like most people don't. People think lead, they think guitar.
Yeah.
Like later, but it used to be clarinet for that Dixieland stuff.
That
then-
stuff's so cool. Like,
Yeah. And then the sax took over from that
yeah,
in like early rock transition swing.
yeah,
But no, I never really. I guess I always related clarinet to classical music, and I came back to
Yeah.
it in the studio really,
yeah.
and go, this is really a cool haunting tone. You can't.
It's got
get
that
from-
tone. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of that. It's almost like a warm tone, whereas I feel like sax is a little bit of a brighter
yeah,
tone.
bit
Yeah,
brass and in your face.
yeah.
You can get melancholy from sax,
of course.
but
yeah.
it's like a whole other thing. The
Yeah.
clarinet's all generally built from wood and just got
Yeah.
that sort of.
Yeah.
It's like another layer on top, like all these different harmony parts. Um, But no, man, I'd love to. I just wanted to keep learning and doing different things.
Yeah,
I also, well, I fumble away at playing a lot of keys.
Yeah.
Because I produce a lot.
yeah,
So I got a weighted full scale keyboard like that. I use as my MIDI keyboard.
yeah.
So I play a lot of stuff.
So you're all right on keys then? You're pretty
I'm good on one hand
competent.
because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a horn player and used to thinking in one line all the time.
yeah.
Um,
But like if you had to do like a proper song, you'd probably struggle. So that's perfect for production then.
Production, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
because
played
you
it live
don't
as well.
need to do it all in one take kind of thing.
If I had to like play a gig and just rehearse something and uh dance piano is great because it's all got a jumping
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So but if you got to split your head into two parts with a piano
Two
does,
sort of different things. Yeah,
I've got it drummed into me for so long that you think in one line when playing.
yeah,
So like percussionists can split their minds like that.
Yeah.
But I've learned to do that through production because every element has its space.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Can we get a...
Yeah, for sure, man.
Sorry, man.
I was about to.
I haven't drunk for a while.
I was about to say, do you need another one? Yeah, that's cool, man. So you then you like you said you started on clarinet.
Yep.
What age did you start on the clarinet? What?
Probably 8 years old.
Yeah.
Quite young.
And how long did you do that then? Like all through school?
All the way up to grade 12.
Yeah.
So played in all the symphonic bands and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Wind symphonies and
Yeah.
and symphony orchestra type stuff. Yeah.
I was a lot more competent at that. Like I was a lead clarinetist for like
Yeah.
2 years, and usually I only give it to grade 12s at the end. And
Yeah.
we got to the nationals for school bands, and we get to play the opera house, and
How were
Had
the
a lot of-
acoustics in there? Was that good playing on the?
it was amazing. Oh, actually, if I was to go there now, I was to go. Oh, it just bounces around everywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's what you
Um,
sort of want for that kind of music, right?
Yeah,
Because there's less like beats that are like hitting hard on the beat, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that it bounces around.
yeah, you got
It's
this
not
big
sort of like
organic beast, which
Yeah,
you kind of want to hear that little bounce back
yeah.
because it's its natural reverb
Mm.
and stuff like that.
You
Oh, it
can't
was
put a reverb on a clarinet. You can't just chuck a reverb on the clarinet.
in the
you gotta
orchestra.
you got to be in the space.
Yeah, get my pedal out.
Yeah.
Um,
Imagine that, like an orchestra with all instruments, but everyone has pedals attached to their instruments, and they can all like,
that would be awesome.
yeah, right.
Really cool.
Just thought of that then. That's an idea, but
Yeah,
that'd be
why
so
not?
hard because you got to get like, first of all, you got to get the musicians who can do the classical thing and use pedals and stuff,
Mm.
and then you've got to figure out how that works in with the song that you're going to play. Like that's the whole next level for that.
Maybe you had like another step on, like an engineer.
Yeah,
So like,
you
I
need
guess
someone in there, or you need someone to write a song that's designed to be like, all right, so in the second hook,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to turn on your distortion pedal, or the clarinets turn that,
Yeah.
like,
and
it's
then the
just
other guys
another layer,
use
yeah.
delay or something. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
So it's not just a big jumble of noise.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. I mean,
That
you're
would be
seeing that a
cool.
lot with I'm loving the whole DJs playing their music like P-Tong and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In the classical format, and I think it's
Yeah.
kind of making classical music relative again.
Yeah. I
for-
went to they had symphony in Brisbane in the city hall.
Yeah, with fuck.
Do you mean the person who was hosting? What's his name?
Yes.
Mobin Master.
Mobin. I should
Yeah.
remember that because I played before him at Prohibition.
Yeah.
He's a
Oh,
legend.
you were there like the after party for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
Oh, he's a legend, man. He's been around for years and years.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. He's yeah,
Did you go to
definitely
the
a ledge.
Basement Jacks one?
No, I didn't. But yeah, no, I want to go to more though because it's really interesting, and I really love, and you'll probably appreciate this coming from like a classical background.
Yeah.
Is the thing I enjoyed the most was seeing how much enjoyment the musicians had playing it.
Yeah.
Because it was only a small version of Philharmonic, a couple of like they didn't have all the full
Yeah, it was a different world, I guess. A lot of
band there. Yeah.
like really high trained classical people would not be open to.
And but the thing that I loved was because like obviously like dance music is quite simple compared to classical.
Mm.
So for them, it was so easy to do. but they were having so much fun. Like you
Yeah.
could see, like they were like, getting it, like
Yeah.
head banging while playing clarinet, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
'cause there's like this is easy. Like, but
Well,
yeah, it
they're
was
probably
so
not-
good to see them like really, because it's so different to a classical gig. Like a
Yeah.
classical gig, everyone sits down, you play the movement, it ends, and everyone goes,
And sometimes you're not meant to clap
yeah.
until like I would be like that one person like
The movement's not finished.
3 more movements.
There's-
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, but like that's what I mean. It was so
Yeah.
different for them, like that experience of having the
Yeah.
crowd dancing and that. Like they were right into it, hey, and the
It
conductor
probably
was
had
right
the
into it too. Yeah,
Same intensity as well because it's uncharted territory.
yeah,
And like dance and classical are both very layered music.
yeah,
Like it's very layered and it's got so many little
yeah,
simple parts. Like some classical is insanely difficult. So maybe they just found the relation and be like, oh wow, this is actually really cool.
yeah. Because it was so. I think it was just that's what I enjoyed the most was watching those musicians because knowing like the world they probably come from and
Yeah.
the music and what they usually do was like such a contrast to that. And
Yeah.
like there was lights, there was people dancing, there
Mm.
was like singers, performers, like it was really just really cool like to see them so into it. And at the end when they're like the orchestra, they like get up and they were just full into it, like they were loving it, man. I really enjoyed seeing them love it. Yeah,
Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that, man.
yeah,
I think that's why I kind of love electronic music and combining acoustic
Yep.
stuff
yeah,
because they
I mean
both
that's literally what you do.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's what corrupted me, brought me
Yeah.
to the dark side.
yeah,
A lot of groups like that, like in the early 2000s when I
yeah,
way back when I graduated from high school.
yeah. 2000s.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, um,
What
Oh.
music were you into back then?
well, I came out of the era of grunge.
Yeah.
But I was playing classical. Like, I would hide my clarinet case in my bag because everyone had like long hair, ripped shirts, Nirvana, Metallica shirts.
Yeah.
And I was the nerdy. I wasn't nerdy, but I went to a state school and
Yeah.
played classical clarinet.
You're the clarinetist.
And they're like, "What's that shit?"
Yeah, the little clarinet.
But yeah, there was a lot of change in that time. And then you go out and you're like, grunge started to die off and like, how do you dance to grunge all night? So they weren't
Yeah.
playing that. They were playing like R&B and house, which was just like, what is this music?
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of fell in love with it because I was like, this has got everything. It's
Yeah,
good.
because there's so much variety. Yeah,
That's what I still love about house. You
Mm.
can use any sound as long as you make it work.
Yeah.
You can fit into it. And it changes. Like, you hear people go, oh, it goes boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, but
yeah,
all the stuff that goes into it,
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's come from, like, it came from disco to a degree, and then, like,
Yeah.
European electronica and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was really into trip hop when I came out.
yeah. Cool.
So I was like, what of this?
Yeah, yeah.
And just like you see Portishead back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
it made sense. It was very musical, and
Yeah.
I liked a lot of slower music rather than fast music.
Yeah.
Massive Attack were huge. Like I just literally, I think someone gave me the Mezzanine album. They had another
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
and it was just I would listen to it for hours, and that's when I was getting into recording music.
Okay. Yeah.
And my obsession was like, how do they make these sounds? It sounds like a piano, but it's way off in the distance, or
Yeah.
they just use the hammers on it, and then they reverb it, and all these little. I was obsessed with trying to work it out.
Yeah. Figure it out. How do they do that?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
I
Yeah.
still do that now, but I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll annoy people. Like,
Yeah.
oh, but you hear that? Is that a guitar and a piano together? And like, they
Yeah,
took the
yeah.
attack off, and they're just doing this weird wah wah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I get that all the time. Like when you hear and use like a cool song or a cool sound in a song, like
Yeah.
at a club or wherever it is, you're like, oh, how would they make that? Like,
yeah. I love having those
What-
conversations.
what wavetable have they used on that synth? You know,
Yeah.
like, is that what kind of is that a sign with a square on top or like
Yeah.
just like get real nerdy about it all.
Yeah, and you hear like all my producer mates, like when dubstep was like the forefront, they're like, oh, you got to get a massive. You got to do this because that's what Skrillex uses.
Yeah.
And then, but like, what was it? Like Layback Luke when he was, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure how to classify Layback Luke. Was it like just big room?
Yeah, whatever.
Went
it
into
is.
EDM sort of thing.
He did layback Luke.
And like,
yeah.
I saw him at the Met years ago because I used to work at the Met.
Yeah.
He was a lovely dude, really musical, really energetic.
Yeah.
And he used acid.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like people used to laugh at him, like he made it work for him.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it. You can use anything really.
yeah.
Yeah.
I use old-fashioned Cubase.
Cubase? Is that what you use still, or?
Yeah, just because I'm not very tech savvy.
But how good is the one thing? And I don't know if they still have it, but I remember when I was in school, Cubase had you could like put a MIDI line or whatever, and you could convert it to sheet music.
Yeah.
Does it still have that?
Yeah, it still has that.
That's pretty handy if you want.
To give to other musos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who actually play, like instruments.
Yeah, it's all just a language.
Yeah.
Like, rather than going to other people, it goes ba ba da ba da, or
Yeah.
however it works for them.
It's like,
you're
here, play this.
like,
And
oh,
then they
okay.
have to sight read it.
Yeah. And then they play it back. You're like, well, it's not how it's meant to sound.
You're like, this is how it's meant to sound. You press play on the
You
computer.
just do how it sounds.
Play it like that.
Yeah.
Come on, like, yeah.
It's still really funny hearing people describe music to you.
Yeah.
Like, you can, it has that thing,
It
that
has
beat.
that thing in it.
It sounds like that song. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize the more detailed you can get your description, the
Yeah.
better the translation will be.
Yeah, yeah.
With like,
But people don't know how to describe music.
yeah,
Well, general, public people, like I could sit
Yeah.
here and describe music to you probably. Like,
Yeah, we'll laugh.
we're really in depth, but it's
we'll laugh at the nerdy sort of nuances of it. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, hey,
yeah.
I got what you mean.
yeah.
But yeah, like at gigs, people go, can you do that thing that sounds like that other thing? I'm like,
Yeah.
or can you remix that song now? I'm like,
Yeah, could you remix it for me?
it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, that's not how it works, eh? I suppose that would be interesting then working with DJs or other people, because I know you play
Yeah.
sax with other people. So how does that work then? Because I imagine it would be a similar thing where unless they've got a bit of understanding of how you work with the sax and
Yeah.
the sounds and tones and things you like to do, it could be hard for them to describe what they want you to do in a set. Like if you're planning a set with, say, Josh
Yeah.
for Sax Drive, and I don't know how much practice you guys do or anything.
He sends me playlists and we talk
Yeah.
about different songs, and
Yeah.
we'll go up and meet. Generally, and we'll just discuss a set, where we're playing,
Yeah.
what sort of stuff. He'll play me stuff, and I'll show him stuff as well. And we'll go, I'm an R, see if it works, and it's still dropped in the deep end.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
But you have a bit of an idea, yeah.
Bit of a chin wag, but majority of gigs I do, it's just I'm hearing music for the first time and then
And
reacting
you just
to it.
play into it.
Yeah, but you get a lot of people who go, "What do you want me to play?"
Yeah.
And
you're sort of like, oh, whatever, man. Like,
yeah, like I don't like micromanaging people.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you don't get the best out of people like that.
Yeah.
So some people are just like years ago, some guy was like yelling at key changes. Hey, Marta! Bit like, I know, man. Like,
I know. I can tell. I already know what it's going to change
Yeah.
into. Like, I can
yeah,
tell,
I'm using my ears, and like it's one of my strengths.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to take that away from him.
He's
But
like, I'm doing good, telling him the keys.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm doing a good job over here.
because they get angsty if they ever work with a instrumentalist for the first time, and they want everything to go well, which is understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You want to make it as easy as you can for the instrumentalist because they're doing something that you could never do,
Yeah.
probably. Like,
well, this is like a field that's not taught in universities or anywhere, or so it's this language you build up at gigs with musos and DJs. You both often come from different worlds where you start
Yeah.
with music. But usually it's just, well, I guess I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people like this generation are quite polite and nice. And they're
Yeah.
like, "What do you want to hear? What do you want to do?" And I'm just like, and all I do is go, do what you do,
yeah,
and if you feel like giving me space every now and then, I'll work around that
yeah,
because I want them to have a good set. As soon as it becomes a stiff thing,
yeah.
and you're not just
Both in the
Reacting?
moment, having fun.
yeah, it just turns into this odd sort. Unless you can translate ideas really quickly.
I guess that's the good dynamic that I've noticed that you and Josh. I've only really seen you play with Josh, but
Okay.
I suppose that's the dynamic I see when you guys. It's not like you're looking at each other heaps, trying to, you know what I
Texting
mean?
each
Like,
other.
yeah, I don't see you guys going, "Oh, I'm gonna play like," like
Yeah.
being like sort of communicating too much. It's just sort of like oh yeah, I know this is gonna drop, and then Sharif's gonna do some stuff for a bit, and then like
yeah, well, Joshy knows how I move as well too.
Yeah.
So, and plus he's very up to date with what's kind of now.
Yeah.
Plus, he's got a great catalog of what can work and what has been.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Over the years.
yeah, like our whole ethos with sax drivers, like we want to just have a good gig
Yeah.
every time. We want to play to bigger rooms generally.
Yeah.
Just have like the underline being house. But if we have to go a little bit anthemy, we'll do that. If we want to go a bit more techie, we'll do that sort of thing.
Yeah. Whatever it requires.
Yeah, and then like we'll do sets. We play drum and bass and breakbeat, and Josh, he pulls it that way, and I like how he just drops me in the deep end.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the reaction with people. They're like, huh?
Drum and bass with sax?
Yeah.
What?
What do you do now? I'm like, rudimental.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about production then? Like, obviously, you guys have had a few tracks, and you've got a track out, Date Night. Is it?
Yeah,
Date Night. What's who is that? Was that just your solo project, or who is?
No,
what's
no.
That?
That's
What's that?
two other
called?
friends of mine.
Yeah.
We Mike Warren.
Yeah.
He is based in the US, and he used to be in here.
Yeah.
Brisbane.
Yeah.
So we used to do a lot of gigs together back at Soleil, and then he moved away. And Anders, who is another production partner, he lives in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So we do it all via the web.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I think when you get back on the beers, mate, you got to get
just
used
got
to
to
the
push it down. No, we've been
combination.
writing music together since 2016.
Yeah, so a
And-
while. Yeah.
Yeah, released our own album. We self-release everything.
Yeah. Well, that last one's done pretty well by the looks. I remember seeing it pop
Yeah.
ups, and it's been supported by a heap of some
Yeah, it's crazy.
labels on playlists and stuff. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like big guns, like Tool Room.
Tour
and-
room and stuff. Yeah.
I'm like,
that's-
Jesus, they like that. Yeah, I think we have just been quite good at finding our niche.
Yeah.
Which is
what you guys? Yeah.
a hard thing to find out over time.
Mm.
And we all got different strengths. Like Mike is more business, and he can think a certain way as far as what works and what could work with different things.
Yeah.
I'm more the muso, so is Anders, and
Yeah.
he's a better engineer than me. I'm a terrible engineer,
Yeah.
and I had to work that out the hard way, like a lot of people.
But that's it, isn't it? Like that's one of the most important things is finding out what your strengths and weaknesses are within
Yeah,
what you do, and that's where the best duos or trios or
Yeah.
whatever it is come from, where people have things that complement each other. It's
Yeah.
not like you're both really awesome at this. You're not both awesome engineers.
yeah,
It's like one of you's more music. You've maybe got the theory and the actual melody writing and that kind of stuff, and the
Yeah.
other person's got more the engineers sort of stuff. I
yeah,
think that's important in a duo. Like.
yeah.
you
Duo
sort of-
and just a band.
If you
as
can
well.
both do the same things, it's like, why don't you just both have solo projects?
Yeah,
You know
like,
what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
that's why you got to find those good sort of,
you may as well
combinations.
use the strengths of everybody to
Yeah.
create this new thing.
Yeah.
Like with Joshy, if I was a great DJ, like I don't DJ,
Yeah.
I've got a controller at home I barely
Yeah.
use. We'd be probably arguing over tracks all the time.
Yeah.
Or, I know there's a lot of DJ groups, but like we use our strengths.
Yeah.
And he knows, and I know, and rather than like I took a long time to figure out that I'm not going to be that great at engineering, or just like any discipline, you have to really dedicate yourself.
Mm.
So like I've already dedicated myself to being a horn player and other instrumentalist thing.
Yeah.
Like sound engineering is a whole other thing, and
Yeah.
it's like the mathematics to it.
Yeah. It's
And,
a
like,
totally different world.
You got to get off and like, oh, they went up 3 dB there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
did you hear that when the high pass filter cuts up and
Yeah.
then it drops back in the drop? You're like,
I'm all that music.
bro, I didn't hear any of that.
I'm all that music at the front going, make it sound good. Poor engineer at the back.
Yeah. But I think that's also like, that's such a talent to have. Like I wish I could still play keys or, trumpet as well as I used to play, kind of thing. Like,
I'm sure you can get back into it.
yeah, I know, but then I gotta get a trumpet. I've got
you gave it away.
I've got my granddad's trumpet, but the
Mhm.
mouthpiece is like, because they used to have weird mouthpieces back in the day for like trumpets, like it's real small. Like whereas now a
Oh.
lot of the trumpets have like a deeper
Yeah.
sort of mouthpiece.
How old is that
Um,
trumpet?
Oh, it'd be from like the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, it'd be like, 60, 70 years old.
Yeah, like big band.
Yeah, my granddad used to have a like a big band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Oh, that's cool.
that's the whole trumpet connection there from me.
Yeah. Well, I'd recommend, like, even if it's just a studio thing, if you can get a good mouthpiece and play again and record.
Well, I was
Y-
teaching myself to play French horn.
Wow.
I just got because I work at a school. I was like, they didn't have people learning French horn. I was like, can I take one of those French horns to the studio?
You still doing it?
No, I haven't done it for a while. I gave it back last year, but we used to just have like a French horn in the studio, and like people would get on the piss and get real wasted. And, like, everyone would have a go on the French horn, and
Oh,
one person
it's so
one time,
weird.
one person was laying down. They're like, "Give me a go," and they've grabbed it and they've laid
Oh.
down, and because all the condensation and the spit
Oh,
has just
yuck.
gone. Because with French horns, they don't have spit valves. It's like you've got to like turn it
Dunk it
round
out.
to like to make it go through and out, and they've just gone like that, and they've just got like a mouthful of everyone else's
Oh,
spit.
Gross.
Oh man, it would yeah,
Yeah, that'd been.
not ideal, not ideal.
You didn't record this?
Yeah, it's but yeah, so I was doing French horn for a bit because I think that's one of those weird or like instruments that has a very unique tone to it. Like
Mm.
French, have you ever heard French horn in a dance track that you know of? Like you might have, but
You could
probably
use
wouldn't
it.
know. Yeah, that's
like at a breakdown or something.
that's what I was thinking. Like
Well, that's what I was laughing when you're saying you're drinking and playing French horns. Like, it's two different worlds.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
such a sort of regally beautiful sound if you can nail it. And then you're like, give me the thing.
Yeah, just going nuts on it, yeah. But yeah, no, I think that'd be really cool. I'm definitely interested at some stage in my future of doing some more sort of live elements in my music. I think.
Yeah, man, do it.
I think it's yeah, it just it takes me back to that day of the classical sort of music and playing in all those kind of bands and stuff like that.
Well, plus you got all this knowledge you have now
Yeah,
through either playing, production, like
yeah.
it'll give you a sound you can't get sort of really from a keyboard.
Oh yeah,
I
of
hate
course.
keyboard sax. And,
Yeah. Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I hear it in tracks all the time though. Like,
Just pay Sharif to come and play the sax line if you need a sax line in your. Do you do session recordings for people?
I've done a couple.
Yeah.
I should really be more disciplined about it.
You should get that out there, man, because like you said, like there's nothing you can't. The synths that recreate a sax sound do not sound like a sax
No,
at all.
but then I hear it a lot, and I could tell the difference. Like, I hear a lot in hip hop.
Yeah.
Like what's it, Macklemore,
Yeah.
Thrift Club,
Thrift
Thrift
shop.
Shop,
Yeah.
Thrift Club, the Thrift Club song.
Yeah. You can. Yeah. I can always tell.
Yeah, but
There's
most
just
people just go,
something.
"Oh, it's a plastic horn sound."
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, not to disregard it, I'm sure can have a spot, and it's really hooky.
It just doesn't have that dynamics and
there's a depth and
there's the human element of like the articulation of how you play the notes. That's
Yeah.
not the same on a keyboard or anything
you
like
can't
that.
craft it to all the degree that you really can.
I mean, you could, but fuck.
It's a lot of wasted work.
Yeah, that's a lot. You could just get someone to play it on a sax.
I got a lot of people who recommend a Wi-Fi MIDI horns,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, maybe.
Are there any things? I know that there's a trumpet version of a MIDI controller that exists
Yeah.
where you blow in, but is there a sax
Yeah.
style version? Yeah, they've got have they got that for most instruments now? Like a
Possibly. Like, it all depends. If you got like something with amazing CPU and like, it's all about really detail and depth, but still it's not quite there.
yeah.
In my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, if it was affordable, if I had money just to spend on instruments and stuff,
Yeah.
I'd pick that up, but it wouldn't be first. It'd be like 20th.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, put that thing in. And then but they'll probably spin people out of gigs. You like plug that in, put like a synth thing on it. They're like, what's he doing? Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
Because then like synth has got another, like a synthesis was another thing I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
It's got a different strength altogether.
Yeah.
The leads, and you can get amazingly detailed and do so many different beautiful, crazy, intense things with synthesis,
Yeah.
as you know, like looking in this room.
Yeah.
Like I was nerding out to your analog modular.
Yeah,
Like
the modular up there.
if you get a sound, it's hard for someone else to emulate exactly what you've done.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
You know, to get it exactly the same, you know.
Like just a little bit of cutoff or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, oh.
Or even if you don't have that exact, you have to have that synthesizer to make it sound that way.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have the Moog little fatty and
Yeah.
you've got something else, you get close. It's never going to be actually the same though.
And that could be the sound that makes that track. Be like, oh fuck, I love
Exactly that little 1%.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference.
Because it's like what comes at the drop or whatever it is. You're
Yeah.
just like, oh, use the bass face.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
Get
like,
the bass face in
how
there.
did he do that? Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to touch on quickly was just I remember like, you know, because you've obviously played in classical, you know, symphonies or wind symphonies or whatever.
Yep.
The difference of when you're in those groups and you hear the sound coming from around you.
Yep.
Do you like I've you can only really talk to people who've played in these kinds of groups about this because it's like other people don't really get it where it's like you can hear the instruments at different places from where you're sitting.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
when you hear it as an audience member, it's all coming from here.
Yeah.
In front of you. And then in clubs and all that, it's coming from wherever. But like when you're
So-
actually in those kind of groups,
Mm.
I find that so amazing, that sound, when you can hear the things from different spots.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, there's the trumpets are over there, or wait,
Yeah.
you're a clarinet player, so you're on the left,
Yep.
the front, so you can hear the trumpets, trombones, tubas,
Yeah, they go like
saxes in the
winds,
middle,
bassoon,
flutes
back.
over the other side of opposite.
Troublemaking trumpeters over there.
Yeah,
Well, they were back in like I was mates with everybody.
Yeah.
It's been so long, man. But it's hard
It's
to
a
just.
different sound, isn't that so?
You're part of
I
this.
find that
You're a
it's-
part of this body of sound.
Yeah.
And
It comes from around you, not like, yeah, it's an interesting, I
Yeah.
think it's something that a lot of people haven't experienced, but it's actually quite, I don't know, there's definitely goosebump moments, I reckon, a lot of them.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that for a long time, man.
Yeah, I know, no one
It's
does.
like,
yeah.
Getting a bit teary.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when you hear it from different, it's actually like,
Yeah, so I guess so. So well, as far as if that's where you begin,
Yeah.
you try to emulate certain things or describe it.
yeah,
You really just got to kind of go. If you were there, you were there. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the whole conversation. If everyone's doing pretty well, it's this organic thing,
yeah,
and then every instrument has their different quality, and you make this huge plethora of sound.
yeah,
And there's layers and structure, and then I think that's where you can find like the intricacies of an
Yeah.
appreciation of. That's what
Yeah.
I did.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
what I took away from it,
yeah,
rather than going mine is the best, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, which
yeah,
some people do, and they become a virtuoso.
yeah,
But I don't understand that.
yeah.
I'm like, there's so much awesomeness around you.
So how did you get into dance music then? Like we talked about, you were doing clarinet and all other instruments and
Yep.
stuff in high school up until then. What happened then? How did you get into the dance music realm? Was there a particular moment, or was it just like slowly you got into it? How did that happen for you?
Combination of things. At the end of grade 12, well, I kind of really got into sax, and then probably only halfway through grade 12, which is probably a stupid thing. I said, I'm just going to do sax now, rather than this
Yeah.
other instrument I trained at for years.
Mm.
Then I tried it for the con. I didn't get in. Cause I
On
just,
sax?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I just
Because that's
wasn't.
what I was doing now.
Yeah,
That's my thing. I was just
Oh,
doing sax.
Talk to them now.
Probably would have got in for clarinet, but
Probably, yeah. I was much better at that, but my heart wasn't in it anymore.
Yeah.
So I tried, didn't get in. Basically, had a year off finding out what I wanted to do. I was working in a kitchen, just washing dishes and
Yeah.
kitchen hand stuff.
it's
And
life.
yeah, and I was a 18-year-old not going to uni, but I was going out all the time.
Yeah.
And it was back in the days of early funky house music, stuff like that. Stuff when it was like 128 BPM.
Yeah.
People playing these things called records.
Yeah.
And I was just an 18-year-old going out and just like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know what the name was.
Yeah.
And just hearing it. And then I got into uni at about early 2000. Met a whole bunch of different people, played in groups, and like everyone had their own sounds and genre.
Yeah.
Met a few like-minded people, started a group, and then actually just on the off chance someone said, "Oh, you play sax, don't you?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, we got an event coming up. Do you want to just stand in the corner and play sax?" I'm like,
You just
"Okay."
stand in the corner and play sax.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
what do I do? Well, it was at the old mono, like back in the
What do
day.
you mean the old mono? You mean the mono? It was at
Mono
the mono
days.
It was at the mono. Yes.
Oh, it depends what era of mono it was. So this was
Yeah.
like 2003 mono. I started playing.
Yeah, see, that's before. See, this is before my time. Mono,
Ah,
even. Like,
young man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you should see how I feel when I tell people about mono. They're like, "Oh, what's mono?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you don't know about mono."
You
Like,
sound like an old fart, but then you
I
get
know.
everyone now. Like I still get people go, "Oh, mono days, mono days,"
mono days.
and
Yeah,
you're like, "Yeah, it was a special place."
it was a thing.
Yeah.
It was definitely a thing.
So you probably like you would have come in like when like Joshy's time and all that because you're a similar age.
Yeah, me and Josh probably started around the same time.
Yeah, and I probably just filtered out about then and
Yeah.
moved to the Met. So basically with house, someone asked if I wanted to play, and I was like, "This is amazing, awesome." I had a
Yeah.
fun time, and I was just really getting into house and going to festivals and clubs, and I loved going out and not knowing what was playing.
Yeah.
And just I would go home and go, I just got introduced to all these different things, and
Yeah.
then there was
That's cool.
internet.
I like that.
Yeah, the internet wasn't as awesome as it is now.
Yeah.
You'd have to load it up and all that. So we just had to go into record stores, talk to people, stuff like that. And I just kept playing, and you got a lot of attention from ladies.
Yeah.
Which,
so
as
you
a young
enjoyed-
guy,
So you enjoyed that. That was something that, because being the DJ is usually locked in the booth, but you can sort of be a little bit more out there and a bit more seen.
you got to be on like the forefront and
Yeah.
performing.
People
like,
have to know that there's a sax playing there. Otherwise, it just sounds like there's sax playing over the top of
you're like,
all
what's
these
this
tracks.
thing? Yeah,
They just
Again?
recorded sax over the top of these tracks. Like, yeah.
When people see it happening live, they're like, "Oh, it's a cool thing." Because like,
It changes how they feel about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
back then, musos would be playing at different fun clubs and stuff, and they would just turn up at the club with their instruments and start playing, and people wouldn't get shitty. Like, it wasn't unusual to see someone get their trumpet out or bongos and they just join along with the music.
Yeah.
Right now, they go, "Could you stop doing that?"
They'll just be like, you can't bring that in here. Yeah.
Oh, I went through the era of everyone having a fucking whistle. And
Ah,
this is like, ugh.
the whistle days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of beautiful because it incorporates what I love about house. Is that
Yeah.
it just involves everyone.
Gets other people
And
into
we're all even on the dance floor,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's back in early 2000. That's what I started, and I just kept rolling with it and made a bit of a living. Did a day job,
Yeah.
and it just kept evolving from there. Really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you did some stuff with I had Cut Loose Trent in the other day, and he
Mhm.
said you guys used to do some stuff, and I was like, that's crazy, like, because I've known Trent for ages, and
Have you?
I've known you for a little while as well, and
Yeah.
it's like I didn't know you guys did something. So how did you meet Trent, and what did you guys used to do there? Like, how was
we met in an old hip hop funk, I guess rock band we used to play in called the Kleptophonics. Where they live on forever.
yeah?
Even though it died years
Any
ago.
tunes out there
Oh nah,
on the internet? No,
we were too busy
too underground for that.
partying and
too
Squabbly.
underground partying. We were partying too hard for that.
think of like 8 or 9 kind of 20-something-year-olds doing gigs, and we did some fucking awesome gigs.
It sounds like a vibe.
It was a
It
total
sounds
vibe.
really good.
Oh,
Sounds like I would have loved it.
Yeah, it was basically Aussie hip hop, I guess.
Yeah.
And that we're doing lots of gigs, and Trent kind of came in near the end, and I was playing keys and sax, and it came to the point where everyone's starting to break off because everyone had other bands as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Drummer did a breakbeat thing.
So this was a super group.
We got the
Everyone
best
had
talent.
their own bands, and the super group formed.
The original Avengers, but we didn't have the cool suits yet.
yeah, exactly.
And Trent came in, and I was like, he's a character. And because he had records, he could just go, I'm playing this and playing that. And I was like, fuck yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
And we found this niche that we both were passionate about and loved, which was like disco, soul, funk, reggae, all that sort of, but a bit more slower tip.
Yeah.
So we're like Trent, he's an amazing turntablist
Yeah.
and a DJ,
Yeah.
and he's got a great ear. and I did what I did. So we're like, well, let's see what happens. Let's marry the
Yeah.
two. In the end, we did a few gigs. Like some of our best gigs were in family back in the lounge back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Family days back in
family.
the day.
Another back in the day.
Man,
you had to be there.
Family. Are you talking like? So where did you guys used to play in family back then? Are we talking? Is this? How long ago are we talking? Are we talking
Ice
like
bar.
Ice bar? Yeah,
Ice
yeah,
bar days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ice bar days.
Back when
With-
Milo
with-
played an ice bar. That's a long time.
Ice bar, and then you had like, was it Uncle Room or something
It
upstairs?
was the pod, then it was
It's the
Uncle.
House, yeah, which was like
which
the
I also used
house.
to play at for house music.
Yeah.
And then the main room.
Was this when the main room stage was up on the mezzanine level, or when it was down on the where the stage is these days?
It
Was
would
it
have
up?
been.
When you're on the dance floor, did you have to look up to them?
Yeah.
To the DJ up on the next level?
Yes,
Or were
yes.
they down where this? Yeah.
No, that was way when I was well gone from that place.
Yeah.
So
So they were up on the next level still.
Yeah, so you had the whole God thing.
That was so cool though, man. Like
Oh,
people
dude.
don't like. If you brought that back, that alone would be so cool. Like for
Yeah, just a
It was-
different like places you can be in the club.
yeah,
Like I remember it was a big thing
yeah,
to be in the little VIP on the side.
yeah.
For some, it's stupid
Everyone loves
because
VIP.
yeah, but it's like you're on the same level as the other thing, but
Yeah.
because there's a little pretend door, you're like, I'm in here. But then it was awesome being in the dance main section down the bottom with all your mates. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's when I was the younger dude going out with all his friends. Because family was our first big club, and then
Yeah.
Mono was the next bigger club.
Yeah.
So Trent and I played quite a few years after that, like
Yeah.
2006, like back when Uber
Yeah.
started.
Back when Uber.
I've been at
started.
the beginning of a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time. We wrote some stuff, never did the final work and got it out.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. I think he said. I remember him saying that you guys used to use Reason.
Good old
A little
Reason.
bit.
Yep.
How clunky is that DAW? Like it's
Oh.
great coming from a live element, like to have all the racks there and to be able to see how it all works. But if you're trying to actually arrange and write a track,
Yeah, I guess it's kind of
it's
like just
tough.
like a drum machine that doesn't vary as much like they do
Yeah.
now. It's
Yeah.
just like different patterns, chuck things in. So it's good for just
Yeah.
chucking things in straight away.
Ideas and stuff. Yeah,
But when you want to get to the nitty gritty and doing arrangement
Yeah.
and variations and
you
stuff,
almost need to bounce all the stems out and then
Yeah.
put it in another DAW and arrange it. Like that's probably.
I haven't seen Reason lately. I'm sure it's gotten a lot better. They keep sending me emails, even though I don't use it anymore.
The old tab button or whatever, and it flips it around, so you
Yeah,
see the
like-
back.
and that was
You
like a
gotta
big
do
thrill.
The
Oh,
cables.
there's a thing.
Like, oh, what happens if I put this cable in here? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
It makes the music stop.
yeah,
Makes
that's
it
right.
stop. All right,
That's
don't plug it in there. Put it back.
It's not going to the master. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used Reason, and he was using an early version of Ableton.
Yep.
And if we had been more tech savvy, we would have created much more and just been a bit more disciplined. Like we were playing at clubs, chasing girls, having fun, getting wasted, doing parties,
Yeah.
but also kind of be like, hey, we should get some stuff out.
Yeah.
So I've
At the
done that
same
with-
time, but you never did.
Yeah, because I like had a social life back then.
Yeah, you're doing other shit. You're like, yeah, we'll do it next week. Let's go out
Oh
tonight.
yeah, man. Have you seen this chick I've been talking to?
Yeah.
Which I guess is we always aim to do it, but Trent's very busy. I'm very busy. We're still very good friends today.
Well, mate,
Yeah.
you can still do it. There's still time. He's like, oh,
So I'm like, oh.
I've got too much going on already.
I'm in 3 groups plus my own solo thing. at the
Yeah.
moment, so
Well,
I'm
come
just
on.
like-
What's if you're already in 3? What's an extra? Like, what's one extra? When you at this point, who cares?
Oh, if I can be another alt rock band and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
Yeah, that'd be
Trent's the
cool.
kind of guy I could not see for 3 months and it'd still be the same when I'd see him.
Yeah.
'Cause we
Don't
just-
see him for a year or two, and then you
Yeah.
see him, and it's just like you have just been hanging out last weekend.
Yeah, we'll
kind of
give
thing,
crap.
yeah.
He'll be like, "Hey, fatty," I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's we just got that. So how do you know Trent?
So I used to do I used to be part of the Addicts crew with the breakbeat stuff.
Really?
sang and
Did you play a
and laugh.
GPO downstairs back in
No,
the day?
I never really played. I did all the. I came on later, so I came on like 2010, 2011.
I used to know,
Um,
like we used to all go out in similar groups and all that
yeah,
back in the day.
back in
Yeah,
the day, yeah, like Empire days and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So when did you come into
like
Addicts?
2010, 2011. So I started doing the festivals over at the first one was at the Cultural Forecourt outside the on South Bank
Yep,
up near the where the theater and that is.
yep.
And there's that grassed area outside on the there's a
Ah,
big outside grassed area. Yeah, we
big
had the
gigs there.
festival there. Yeah,
Oh, what festival was that?
blah blah blah. Yeah, with like LTJ Bookham.
Oh wow, that would
Um,
be cool.
yeah, like Borgor, like yeah, heaps of like people there, and
That
so
sort
that's
of
when I
more
came on.
broken in beats
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, breakbeat stuff, and Trent was doing his cut and cook sets there.
Oh wow, they
For
cooked
that,
then.
yeah. So he was doing like his whatever he was doing. I had to. I always remember I had to get his bloody like the safety data sheets for the gas for his cooker and stuff. I'm like, bro, like this is the last thing I need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
What kind of gas are you using? What equipment are you using? Because I need to get the safety data sheets to put in the the master file
We've
for
already got the
for
booze you
workplace health
want.
and safety. Like, what are you going to be cooking with? And he's like, I've just got LPG gas. Cool. You sign this.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, just
It's awesome hearing how everyone's kind of we've all been around,
yeah.
and there's at different points we've crossed over and stuff
Different
like that.
points, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I met Trent. Like, he used to do, play a lot of our events, doing the cut and cook stuff,
Oh, cool.
for our festivals, and then yeah, just stayed in touch
Yeah.
over the years, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a well. I guess I was in a group called Dope and Dusted back in the day, so we were doing stuff when you were doing stuff.
Yeah.
And back then, like remember C Magazine? I know it's still going.
C
Sorry.
Magazine, yeah. But
But
it
it
used
was-
to be a thing.
It was a big thing if your name
Yeah.
was in C Magazine.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still got moldy, smelly C Magazines from back in the day because our names were in it or all that. You played
How
it.
funny is that? That like
You
know,
would
a
read up on it.
magazine,
Like, oh, he's playing at Family.
but like a magazine, like now, like a magazine, people are just like, what even is a magazine? You know what I mean? Like,
Imagine giving
when was the last time you bought a magazine?
I had to take a flight.
Yeah.
And I bought like a movie thing and I still haven't read it.
Yeah.
I've read 3 pages. Like,
That's it. Like it's
go back to this.
such a different time, but yeah, it's
Well, it was a big honor because I think everything just took longer.
yeah.
So you'd have to wait and then it'd be in the thing and yes, please. These are great
Yeah.
beers.
Yeah, they're good beers.
But I used to see the Addicts and I used to see Radazza here and there.
Yeah.
I think he's stopped being in the group or whatever happened. I didn't keep up with to date.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys were doing events when we were doing events. Like,
Yeah.
did you do like middle bar? Like back when breaks was at its peak.
Yeah, it was breaks. I sort of came in the tail end and we did a lot of stuff afterwards, but I
So
kind
more
of
glitchy sort of stuff.
yeah, it was still no, it was still breaks,
Okay.
but like it was the tail end of when we were doing our things, like when breaks started to die off a bit, I suppose. Yeah.
It was such a sad time. I really like. I
Don't talk to me about the death of breaks.
You haven't got over it yet.
Oh, mate.
It's like 15 years ago.
But
Maybe
it's
not
like-
that long.
But it's like breaks have come back, but in a different way, and not the same way, and not the way that I loved. Like I loved that live.
Can you let go of that and just be like?
I
it's still
loved
cool."
that live element of breaks.
Yeah.
The live samples, the live drumming sort of sounds. Whereas now a lot of the breaks are like, you can tell it's all
Very
programmed in a
programmed.
computer.
Yep.
Like the sounds aren't as organic. They're a bit more like
Yeah.
digital kind of sounding.
I guess it had that sort hip hop sort of edge where you're like, you got to find a cool break.
That's
And
yeah.
then
That's
you
kind
sample
of
it,
yeah.
and then you'd quantize and be like, that was one of the authentic things about it. Like I remember,
Yeah.
like I was obsessed with a dramatic twinge track. I forget what it was, but
Yeah.
like people used to spin out because I was playing mainly house sets, and then they play a breaks thing,
Yeah.
same BPM, but breaks was like 2 and 4 sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a 1, 2, 3, 4. But people are like, oh, how you doing? It's like, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. You know?
Yeah, it's the same tempo. It's like it's not that hard.
But it was great genre bending back in a
Yeah.
mainstream club. which we actually do as sax drive a bit. But it was far more common back then. And then you had this break scene going on, you had the house scene going on, and you had like I remember dudes like Siren, we were buddies, and like all those older dudes were doing
Yeah.
that. And then like breaks went from being really funky to a bit darker.
Yeah.
And Moonbar was the place.
Moon Bar.
Oh, sorry, man.
R.I.P.
Bring it. I'm putting up old scars.
Yeah, Moon Bar. No, it was just such good time. Anytime I like any memory of Moon Bar to me is just like
It was
best
awesome
time.
place.
Just the people like was half of it.
Yeah, you knew the bartenders, and it was not to diss on it. It was not a good looking club. It was just a
No.
dark, dingy.
was
But that's
dingy,
what you
wasn't-
wanted from a
That's
club.
what you wanted. You didn't want to go out and have this like nice fancy thing. You wanted like to go
Yeah.
in so you felt like you're at home. You could tear shit up.
Yeah.
You know, like
Moonbar was like the last place we would go to. We're like, where do you want to go to? Yeah, it's Moonbar time.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And then it'd always be going off.
yeah,
And it was just great crew. Different generations came through there.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's just people just went, no, we're not doing breaks anymore. Like, did breaks turn into something different?
I suppose you got like trap, drum and bass, dubstep. Like they all sort of branched off from it and sort of went their own ways. So it's sort of like
It's a different ethos, though, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know. It's something. I remember I went to a thing at the Triffid. It was Back to the Moon, and it was like a
Wow.
reunion of all Moon Bar. So all Moon Bar DJs.
When was that?
Oh, it's probably like 1-2 years ago, and and it was
Shit.
they've done a couple of them, and
Mm.
it's just at the Triffid. So awesome sound, and just the people. Just you can just go up and talk to them.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because like people are like there during the day with their kids. And they're, like, like everyone's older. It's like, oh, I've got like 2 kids like running around and like
Yeah, like, this is when music was music. And I think, but I've been through like, I think I've worked at 3 generations
yeah,
of like, because I was a young dude
yeah,
and I was a bit older. Now I'm the old dude, one of the older dudes of the
Yeah.
scenes now. And it's like, it's hard to explain. Like whatever's going on now, this will be an old scene eventually.
yeah.
And then
It's such a trip to think about it like that though. Like
Yeah, 'cause
because
this
you've
is
been
cutting edge.
through it. You've seen. You've gone. Oh yeah, I remember. Like
I don't want to scare my millennial mates by going, this is going to get old one day.
yeah, this is gonna be
That's
old
not a
one.
bad thing though.
Yeah,
It's just time moves on.
Yeah.
Things change, people change, music changes.
Yeah.
And like if you're sound like you gotta do this, you don't have to do you just gotta keep evolving.
yeah,
Be open minded.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're talking about the breaks days,
yeah,
how it was such a fun time. You say stuff like you had to be there and all that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing.
That's such a classic line. Like, you
Yeah.
had to be there, man. It doesn't make sense if you weren't.
Yeah, but then I'm hearing a lot of stuff from things that were going on when I was playing that I didn't get to be a part of.
Yeah,
Like, what was it?
and you're like, I kind of was there, but
Like the bottom of Indie Temple. What was that place?
where's that? Sorry.
Indie Temple. Oh, not Indie Temple.
know.
Jesus. The Flying Cock down the bottom.
What did it used to be? I don't know.
It's still the Flying Cock, but I think they've sold down the bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom club.
Yeah.
But it was like when the indie scene was like really going off, and I was like,
What year are we talking here? Because
Oh,
I'm
this
sure
would
that
be like-
I feel like the indie scene, everyone in the indie scene's always like, oh, it's always going off. Like they're always like, because it's like when you get into the indie scene, you think it's going.
"You'll
off.
forever be cool."
Yeah. Oh, the indie scene's going off.
I
No,
got, mate,
you just found the indie scene. That's what's happening.
you stumbled into it. You bought a hat.
It's been the same the whole time.
Yeah.
You just found it though. It's new to you.
It's
We
been
get
going
it.
since the '80s, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But there's so much cool music. Probably 2010, I reckon.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what was like transition.
Oh, the
period for
indie
me.
scene was definitely popping then. That's around when I found it.
Yeah, that's
So
when
I
it was
was
really
loving it, yeah.
popular. Like groups
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Phoenix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they married that lot of like that sort of rocky synth pop with dance music, and
Yeah.
I was like,
It's when you had that whole indie dance
Mm.
sort of movement. It was like indie music with dance music. Very weird.
yeah, well that's it. I was like, is this rock? Is this dance?
Yeah.
I was like, because it's not groove music,
Yeah.
so like you got to find the different high about the track.
Yeah.
It's the big sing along. It's the weird where they play the guitar. Like,
Yeah, the lead or something. Yeah.
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
one little note things. But then that opened up a whole bunch of things and that opened up like a new disco scene,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
which is more slower, which hasn't really gone off in Brisbane, but it does go off in like Melbourne and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love a bit of new disco. That slower,
Yeah,
a little bit slower tempo, a little bit groovy. Like
like 115,
yeah.
and like because it's slower, you can fit in more elements sometimes.
Now I just want to play music. I'm like, I know the
We've
exact
gone
song.
here, we're
I know the
depressed.
exact song I want to play right now and listen to. Yeah. You always get those moments.
Yeah, man. It's been a trip.
Yeah. So how did you meet Josh? Because obviously he's been on the show before. I don't know Josh, quite well, but you guys do the sax drive thing, and I've seen you guys a heap of times. But how did you
Yeah.
guys meet? Or how did that start?
We met when I was, well, technically still am, depending on what happens after COVID, playing at Soleil.
Yeah.
He came in when Disco Entertainment came through, and they took charge, and all these new dudes, and I'm like, this guy's not bad.
Yeah.
I listened to tracks, and he just so happened to play at Prohibition as well. But Josh was the close dude, like do the closing sets at Proe.
Yeah,
main
he's
room.
the closer.
The
closer.
He's a closer.
Yeah.
He's gonna love that.
Yeah, so what happened? You met him, he came through the club.
Yeah,
Soleil.
like
Soleil.
we're playing a little bit there, and
So
found
you
out
guys
he
were
li-
actually playing together there? Like you would play
here and
on
there
those
because
nights? Yeah.
like they changed the whole system, and they got some other horn players as well. I was the
Yeah.
only horn player there at the beginning, and then they
Yeah.
opened up new management. It's fine. And we met. We liked a few similar tracks. Found out he loved football. My
Yeah.
place knows soccer. His
Yeah.
country. And we just started playing together. We never really did gigs together.
So
and
playing gigs together, like not football together. You didn't
Oh, we
start
played
playing
football.
football together.
We started playing football before we were playing gigs together.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we're doing that, and then Joshy took over from music management, and
Yeah.
fucking nailed the middle sets, which is the glue between early and all that.
Yeah.
And we just found out we're into a lot of the same stuff,
Yeah.
from comedy to music,
Yeah.
football, and we just got to a point where after doing gigs together for like 2 years, we're like, should we just make a group?
Yeah.
this
Sometimes
thing
it's like,
official?
we're playing together enough. We may as well just make
Yeah.
it like a thing.
Because Joshua was listening, and go, oh, he likes that track. He goes off to that, and I'm like, he's gonna go hard now. I'll just sit back there.
Yeah.
So we just worked out
How it works.
Yeah, and then we're like, yeah, let's just do something, see where it goes. So that was probably Sax Drive was birthed nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you guys have released a song recently or
We got one coming up.
one coming up? Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if it's out yet.
Should be out in about a month, I think, mid-July.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and we just try to incorporate stuff we like. Try and make it a little bit different. Obviously, sax because it's called Sax Drive, but it's club, but fun, but organic. It's a little bit of everything, I guess. Yeah. But it's not too wanky.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, I really enjoy when you guys play sets because it is that good balance of between just a DJ set and sax. It's like you don't like go too far.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not like it's like heaps of just dropping tunes, DJing for ages, or heaps of sax over the top for ages. It's like that good middle ground.
Yeah, I think that's what when we had a lot of conversations and talking about stuff, we realized about each other. We're like, we want to do an awesome set, but we don't want to be like the next group. We're trying to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Because we're not.
I mean, you named Sax Drive.
Yeah.
Great name, by the way. I love that name. It is good.
I didn't realize how well that would work. Marketing
Yeah.
wise, we're like, oh, Sax Drive, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, man. It's interesting to see how good, like, just a cool name does.
Yeah, and I'm terrible at marketing, by the way. So Josh came up with the name. I was like, oh, really?
Really? And he's
And I
like,
was
yeah,
like-
no, don't worry. It'll
He's
work.
like, I got this.
He got-
I'm
yeah.
like, all right. And then we got like people coming out, like they went from going, oh, Sharif, to like, yeah, Sax Drive. I'm like,
Yeah, now I'm Sax Drive. Damn it. We should have had a
We
better
had-
name, Josh. Why did you make me Sax Drive? Now I am Mr. Sax Drive.
I'm Mr.
Damn
Sax
it.
Drive now. Oh, we both are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've got like you've got the sax tape. Like, you know, like your
Yeah.
mixes, like sex tape. Like, there's so many good like puns.
Puns.
It's very pun orientated.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's not silly music.
No,
Like, it's
no.
what
Yeah.
we think is cool, quite in depth to a degree, but still fun. A lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
But it's more just a play on words, really.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
This is all. Can I go?
Yeah. We're gonna go for a piss quickly.
Sorry, everyone.
We always run into this point at some stage.
I've had too much waka.
We'll go
Watch
for a piss. We'll come back and we'll finish the podcast off. I got a few more questions, so let's go do that, and we'll be back.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Cheers, back into it. So, what have you got coming up? You said you got a release coming soon with Josh for Sax Drive.
Yes.
Any other gigs or anything? Like you said, you played the Micro Club last week, like the Sub Rosa. But anything else coming up?
Nothing really planned. I've been contacted by a few clubs I had residencies at, and they've asked me to do streams, and it hasn't really lined up.
Yeah.
There is one club I played every Friday, saying things are going to start to go back to normal end of July.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they'll be open, and then they have the restrictions.
Yeah. They have to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, it's a weird time, man.
It's very weird, isn't it?
Because like being out and about and having the restrictions that you do, the whole meter and a half thing, it's great, and you have to have some sort of legal system in place to validate it all. But then a part of me is just like, is this really going to stop something if it was to kick off?
Yeah.
But you need the economy to start again, and you know, this invisible disease basically.
Yeah,
which you don't know what's going on. Sorry, a bit of a tangent there.
yeah, no, that's fun. All about tangents.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't spoken about aliens on this podcast, so we haven't gone on too much of a tangent yet.
Give it time.
Are you into aliens at all?
I watch a lot of sci-fi.
Oh, what's your favorite sci-fi show?
Well, last night I was just watching the new Predator. Like I like a lot of just
Is there a new Predator?
off couple years.
Okay, yeah. Is it Predator versus Alien, or is it?
No, it's just the Predator.
Oh, okay.
I feel like they finally got back to the essence of what Predator is.
Oh yeah. That first one was so scary.
Did you want back in your little
The first one? Oh man. Predator.
A bunch of bodybuilders versus Predator. Well, that was it. You didn't see him coming.
Yeah, that's the whole scary bit is you don't see him.
And then like these huge, intimidating looking dudes who are commandos would just be skinned in a second, hanging from a tree.
Just getting messed up.
And then you just hear that eerie cookity sort of music. Like, oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
You know, I like a lot of dumb movies.
Yeah.
Like it's dumb, but dumb well.
I don't reckon that's a dumb movie. That's a sick movie.
Well, I guess with my partner, we try and find a middle ground. We want to watch. She watches intelligent things, and then I'm like, well, I want to watch Predator again.
I want to watch things blow up. I heard explosions.
I got the man thing, kicking ass and all that. I used to watch a lot of art house stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually been watching a lot of stuff that's going on around the world at the moment, and I didn't do that for a long time because just kids and all that, and it gets a bit depressing. Not that it's not happening. It's just there's a lot going on in the world. You're just sitting there watching things unfold. You're like, so it's time to watch Predator again.
Yeah,
Just to,
watch some stuff blow up.
Yeah.
What so has there been any big takeaways that you've had from this whole ISO thing and everything that's going on in the world at the moment? Is there anything that has stuck with you that I feel like everyone's learnt something in this time?
Yeah, everyone was faced with the same problem, and everyone's has been in different situations when it hit. When I got over how I felt, and I looked at my friends and what they were going through, some were angry, some were almost happy. They get this break, they get JobKeeper. I guess being patient is a virtue, and you got to make the best of any shit situation that comes at you, because it can take you under if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like I got to spend more quality time with my kids. Like I've kind of gotten used to, like when one of the venues are like, we're going to be opening up again in July. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, but
you're like, I kind of enjoyed the time off.
Asked me 3 months ago, like, fuck, finally. But now I'm like, I've been going to bed at like midnight and getting up at all times and just having this adaptability to play with
Yeah.
my kids and do the stuff that I do.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know, you got to rock the ship a bit.
yeah,
I guess what I would like, I guess for myself and other people, is try and be empathetic to what's going
yeah.
on for other people,
Mm.
because it's like we all got hit with this drama at once,
Yeah,
and like I've seen a lot of people, like mental illness is like
yeah,
a lot of things people talk about, but doesn't affect them very heavily. So when it does land at your front door, how do you deal with it?
yeah,
What's your support system? And sometimes it's just listening to someone
yeah,
and then go, oh, glad I could finally talk about that.
yeah,
I would have loved, like, there is sort of something in place, but when the shit happened, I would have loved a union for like musicians,
yeah,
because like we're lucky to be in Australia and to be actually
yeah,
get some sort of benefit,
yeah,
um, something to pay for you just to do whatever you do. Because places where my dad's from, and other places around the world, they don't really
yeah.
have that.
Where's that?
Indonesia,
Indonesia. Yeah, yeah.
I presume it's like that. Like it's just
It'd just be like, hey, sort yourselves out.
Mm.
Like you can't open or whatever, whatever restrictions they put in place. But they're like, we're not giving you any money.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the way of the wild.
figure it out.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Which is, I think a lot of people who haven't looked at or be in those situations, traveled and stuff, are being like, oh, who's going to look after me now? Like, not
Yeah.
saying that shouldn't be in this country. I believe
Yeah.
that should.
Yeah.
But I also know that we're lucky to have that.
Yeah, yeah, you appreciate it because
Yeah.
you understand, you recognize that that's
Life can be a
something
lot
that-
worse.
Yeah, a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could be in the same situation but not getting anything from anyone.
Yeah. Well, I got
Like-
friends in America and like
Yeah.
communicating with them and there's so much stuff going on there. Like pressure cook,
Americas, yeah.
and they're like our closest ally
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah.
And just how they've handled it and what's happened. It's just like it's nothing compared to what we're like. The terrible thing is like we were on the front line, users and entertainers,
Yeah.
from getting cut, and like a lot of our thing was like as far as telling other people that who's going to support or catch us once
Yeah.
this system is gone.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to get benefits and all that, but there's a lot of people putting up like we thought the bushfires were the worst thing that were going to happen.
Yeah.
There's so many free gigs at musos and that played to try and make money.
To give back to the
Okay, like
people in need.
now we're not in the same, but we don't have a livelihood now.
Yeah.
What's everyone else going to do to support
Yeah.
us? But it's, I mean, you can't really blame. You can't point fingers, I don't think.
But isn't that just what our industry is about, though? I think, like, the music industry has always been about supporting other people, and it's a community thing. And it's like, we don't look to other people to help us because it's like we know that at the end of the day that
It's a hustle.
And it is important. People don't think it's important, but who were the first people to share their, what they do for free online when this all happened? Musicians, live streams, music, like, it was rampant. Like you said, the first people to try and help other communities with the bushfires and things. And then when this happened, we lost or everyone lost their livelihoods.
Yeah, and then we turn
They're
around and
making
go,
money, but they still put out entertainment for people online and things like that.
like music's so powerful that people who are used to playing gigs, and that's how they make music, gig to gigs. They're doing it for free just because they have to do it because they love it that much.
Yeah.
And they're giving this entertainment out there and just doing it because it's that much of a powerful force.
Yeah.
If you dedicate yourself to music or decide to do it, it's like, well, I have to do it somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a business of music, working with venues and all that,
Yep.
which is, we'll work that out later.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, I think. Do you have any
Yeah.
predictions about what things are going to look like when we sort of come back?
Well, that was one of the daunting things when this thing hit, because I had a number of residencies. In another group where I was playing, we were going to headline a festival,
Yeah.
but each specific thing, we dealt with lots and lots of people.
Yeah.
and I was lucky to be at that position. That's all been taken away. Obviously, if you're on a venue or something, it's built on revenue.
Yeah.
Um, we don't know the nature of the industry. I guess it's going to deal with how many people come in, what they can afford.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a bit messy for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I guess the haggle of going back and forth with a venue and charging what you believe you should be charging,
Yeah.
which I hate to say could be different to what you were charging before,
Yeah.
will be different.
Probably less.
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like a venue,
They've got to make the money to pay you.
yeah, like I try and be empathetic and understanding to each situation so I can try and
Yeah.
understand each situation.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go, oh, they should fucking pay me this.
Yeah.
But they've only got this coming in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but we
got to
make it.
You got to make it work for everyone.
Yeah, without it getting ugly, and just we got
Yeah.
to work out the new normal moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, because I feel like people in Australia still want to go out. Like
Yeah.
driving here, venues are as busy as they're allowed to be.
Yeah.
Like just down the road at the pub, it's
Yeah.
packed. It's 12 o'clock on a
Yeah.
Sunday.
It's 12 o'clock and there's 20 people in there.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever it is.
Within the sticky tape.
Within the, yeah. Or, like
Yeah.
table service. No going to the bar.
Yeah. Oh, it's
That's one thing now. Like I've been out to a few pubs a few times and since we've been allowed back out and had like table service drinks, but it's like I miss just standing at the bar waiting for a drink.
yeah.
Now like that's something that's such a little
What's
thing,
what-
but
what
it's like I just want to go to the bar and go, oh, I'll have a schooner of this,
Yeah.
and give them, give them
It's
a
part of the
card.
whole ceremony. You go with your mates, or you might talk
Yeah,
to someone
yeah,
new, talk
yeah.
to the bartender.
Oh, do you guys want beers? Yeah. Oh, can I get 4 pints of
Yeah.
fucking whatever? Yeah,
Like a big thing is the bartenders. They're the other half of the club.
yeah,
And talking to them and seeing what's going on there. And
yeah,
it's this weird dance we have to do for however long. I guess, but this is really the best situation we can hope for. I mean, ultimately, we don't want people dying,
yeah.
which you have to go. All this shit has happened, but we don't want people dying.
Yeah.
How I see it, and that's what it is. That's why the world stopped.
Yeah.
And just take time to be what it was. Maybe a year, hopefully, if things keep putting along. Because
Yeah, I think people don't
festivals and-
understand that. They think like in like a couple of months when clubs are allowed to be operating,
We'll go back to
gonna be the
normal.
it's not going to be normal at all. Yeah, it's going to be like I agree with you. I think it's going to be like at least a year
Yeah.
ish till it's like close to where it was, even maybe longer. Like once we maybe get a vaccine that's like everyone can get.
Yeah. Well, this disease it keeps evolving and changing, which
Yeah.
is a scary thing of it.
Mm.
And it's taken a lot of people and it doesn't affect other people.
Yeah.
But we can't corner it.
Yeah.
This is a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Go watch This Is Not News with Y Tamworth. I did
Oh.
another podcast that I was doing like over the internet.
Yeah.
And I've got a few friends who I didn't even know were virologists until this all happened.
Oh,
And I'm
cool.
like, yeah, so I've got like a few interviews up there with people who are like, this is what they
Time to shine.
this is their field.
Yeah.
And so I've got some really interesting stuff like
Yeah.
out there, just talking to them and asking them, like we're doing now, but
Yeah.
their thing is virology, and it's like, oh, so how
That's
does it do
amazing.
this? How long does it stay on this surface? What does it do with this?
Yeah.
Like cool stuff like that. So go out and watch that if anyone's
Yeah,
they're
for
watching.
sure. It's such a the terrain keeps changing, so it's hard to just
Yeah.
go. Like, I guess the best example I could think of is like New Zealand, who naturally has a much smaller population,
Yeah,
but they're already
and
clubs
an
are open.
island nation.
Island nation. They're
Yeah.
away from everyone. But I got like some mates there, and a mate I talk to semi often, and like he sent me pictures, and we're laughing. We always laugh about stuff. And,
Yeah,
like their clubs look like they were prior. Like it's not like what we may have to face,
yeah,
and we open, but with restrictions, and like it's hard to make a venue work when you can't push it to what it is meant to be.
yeah. Because a lot of venues need to run at almost capacity to make money. You know what I mean? Like they can't be half full.
Well,
They're losing money when they're half full.
you don't go to a club for a mediocre experience.
No.
You try and get the best out of it. Like
Yeah.
Proe, like we all try to do the best we can,
Yeah.
and just it was full, it's awesome, and be consistent like that.
Yeah.
We going in there like with I don't know. I don't want to get into it because I haven't really been involved what's been going on. But it's like, how do you get that experience for people who leave their homes to go out and have fun
Yeah.
and go, all right, you have fun in that corner.
Yeah, yeah. On that, you can't in that square,
Yeah.
that little 4 meter square that you've got there. You've got to have fun there.
But I guess like with anything now, we've been pushed out of our comfort zone. Like it could possibly work to a different degree.
Yeah,
Like streaming has gone up a whole other level now because we've gone into this thing. You're talking about that podcast. I've been watching a lot of podcasts,
yeah, yeah,
and I love the free speech sort of thing. You have a podcast, and it's just people spinning ideas. It's not scripted,
yeah,
and it's opened up that door to what things could be.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's interesting because it's like it's almost accelerated technology.
Mm.
You know, we've had all these technologies for ages, like podcasts and video chat and Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's almost like the norm.
Well, now you know it. You don't go back.
Yeah,
It's just
because like now, like I probably video chat to someone on my phone or laptop once a day.
is that comfortable for you
Now
rather
it's
than just
comfortable.
calling?
Now, yeah, well, now a video chat is like fine. Like it's like I'd probably do that once a day, whereas back in the day, like I would never video call people.
Yeah.
It's like now it's like, well, why not? Like
Yeah.
it's just a normal for me now. Whereas back in the day, back in the day, 6 months ago,
Yeah.
it was I would never video call anyone.
You're
like,
like,
why would I
"Why
video
am I
call
looking
them?
at
And
your
now
face?"
I'm like, why would I not video call them? Like we can actually look at each other in
Yeah,
the
you
face.
got over that barrier.
Yeah,
Well, I've been doing that with my friends. Like, I've got mates from high school from grade 8. We're still friends
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
We're like late 30s.
yeah,
And I've always been that guy going, oh man, I love to come, but I can't because I got
Yeah.
to work. So
No,
the
you
only way I
can.
would catch up was
Yeah.
not go to work some days because they work
Yeah.
all through the week. And then we catch up then. But we've been doing Skype and other things. And at first it was like, hey man, how you
Yeah,
doing?
it's
And then
weird.
we're just like, it's just the thing in a way from us talking.
yeah.
And now,
And now it's just like, oh, hey man, how you doing? Like,
yeah, we
it's
don't
just like,
bother
what's going
dressing
on?
up
Like,
or
it's
having
like,
a
yeah,
shower.
yeah.
Like,
You don't have
whatever.
to do anything. You're like, whatever, man. This is what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start having fun of it and fucking around.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, I guess. That's come from it all.
Yeah, I think technology is going to accelerate. I heard someone say that like the next Facebook is going to come out of this. Like whatever the next, you know what I mean? Like the next revolutionary big thing
Yeah.
is going to come from this. It's going to be like this is the new thing, and the next big company or the next big fad or whatever will come from this, where people will get right into it.
Yeah, I guess like we're both sci-fi fans. And like in every sci-fi movie, the big thing from like Star Wars through to
Yeah,
Demolition Man through to like even Avengers and all that stuff,
Yeah.
is you talk face to face as if you're in the same room.
yeah,
So it's kind of happening
yeah.
now.
Next we'll have holograms.
Oh yeah, you won't have
That's
to
the
leave your
next
house at all.
Yeah, brilliant,
Well, that-
brilliant.
Well, I guess that's a big thing as well. How do you people gotten used to just being at home and doing their new routine? How do you drag them out again?
But that's what I mean. Like that's why when we go out and clubs open up again, will it be the same? Will people just go, no, I'm just gonna stay home and drink? Like, why do I want to go and spend all this money? Like, it's,
yeah, there is that.
like there's gonna be that different. Like you said, it's gonna be how do you drag people out?
But I guess when you're out and it's at that club and you're with your friends and strangers, like nothing compares to that
No,
situation.
it's totally different. Yeah,
So
'Cause
maybe
you don't know what's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
the mystery of
Well, I got my nephew's 18. This should be his time. He's partying and going wild.
yeah,
And going out to all these new things, but he's just had a little house parties only recently and all this shit.
Yeah.
But so we're just gonna have to relearn all this stuff. Like people are gonna
Relearn
whinge about it. Like we already know.
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Our thing is like, oh, fuck, we gotta do the rules and do the whole
Yeah,
stupid
and
thing.
how long is it going to take? And like, what
Yeah.
can we do while this is going on? Like, what else can we do that's adjacent to what we're already doing out in the clubs and stuff? Like, what extra stuff can we do that's gonna to replace that? That's gonna help us?
Yeah.
And and
Like
that
I
kind
think
of stuff.
we're all just trying to keep it alive.
Yeah,
Which is a daunting thing for the whole
that's why I
industry.
think people need to release tracks as well. Like
Yeah.
I see so many people. They're like, "Oh, my track's not coming out because there's no clubs open. Like, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna release it. And it's like, no, man, this is when we need it the most. We need people to be releasing, you know, music, like to be like,
Yeah. That's a good way of
you
looking
know,
at it.
yeah,
Like,
that's
but
how I see it. Yeah,
I was seriously considering the other thing
yeah,
to begin with because I was like, no one wants to feel happy now because like I had all these tracks built up. I
yeah,
got 3 releases coming in the next 3
Yeah.
months,
yeah,
and there's just like they're all dance tracks, and they're
Yeah.
all like, let's have fun, let's go, blah 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 blah, and it's all high energy, and it's like, but the energy's not there because there's no venues. But if you look at it from your point of view,
yeah, and
it's
be
just
like,
like,
well, you could make the energy there. That
yeah,
you know, like, yeah,
energy's where you put it.
yeah,
Yeah, you got to look into those things and keep it afloat. Keep talking to people.
yeah. I think it'd be. I think yeah, it's definitely the time to release music now. I feel.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, we'll wait till the clubs come back to all this, and I'm like, no, people are consuming more music and content now than ever before.
Yeah,
Like people are listening to it, maybe not at a club in the environment you want it to be in.
but they
But
could
they're
possibly listen
listening.
to it more intrinsically
Yeah,
because
and
like
actually connect with it and love it more than just being drunk in a club hearing it
yeah, but like
on a big system.
your average punter, I had to say average, but like
Yeah,
you have to get used to the fact that a lot of the time you are not the main focus going to a club.
yeah,
They want to go see their friends. They want to get drunk. They want to party. Oh, there's that cool song on.
yeah,
But now they got time to read a book and listen
Yeah.
to that song. They, oh, those
Yeah.
lyrics are cool.
Actually,
Or
that is a cool song. I actually really do like this artist, and then go back and check out all their other music. Like,
yeah,
you know.
it's like kind of being in high school again, where you can just sit there.
Oh,
and-
we're all in high school again. Isolation. You can't go out. Mum said Mum said you've got a what's it called? Where they keep you home? You're stuck at
Oh.
home.
You're grounded.
You're grounded.
Yep.
Your mum's grounded, yeah. We're all grounded. ScoMo's grounded, everyone.
Jeremy. Oh,
And now you've got to sort it out. So it's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah, well, you got your own little world,
Yeah.
and then you got whatever you choose to bring into it, and it's not as fast as it used to be. Everything because before you kind of felt like you're just keeping up.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's cool? What's this? What's this?
100%. I totally feel that. That's the best way to put it. Like before we were all just keeping up, and now it's like a time to take a step back and sort of go,
Yeah.
what do I need to put my attention or effort into? Like, you know, what is it that I should really be focusing on and pushing?
Like I
I
feel
love that.
bad. I haven't called a whole bunch of people I
Yeah.
would normally just see in the.
Video called them even.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet.
Yeah, not ready yet.
Oh, this. I gotta pee.
Yeah, nice. You got to pee again.
Again.
All right, let's
That's
wrap
what I
it
see.
up. Let's wrap it up.
Sorry.
Because we can't have too many pee breaks. We always do one pee break.
I could talk all day, man.
You could talk all day. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in, man. Where can we find you online? Like, what are your projects that you have? You've got Sax Drive.
Sax Drive. We're all
What
over
else? You said you
Facebook.
had 3 or something going on at the moment.
Sax Drive and Date Night's the other group.
Date night.
I write and perform with whenever we are in the same space.
Yeah.
I play with a group called Mood Swing and Chevy Bass.
Oh, do you play with those boys?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So how does that work then? What's the setup there? Like, it's you obviously play sax.
Sax dude.
What do those boys play anything? when they play? I
Yeah,
think they
Nick.
used to.
Dizzy's the DJ
Yeah.
primarily. Like they both
Yeah.
DJ,
Yeah.
and Nick plays guitar, and
That's right, yeah,
he's
yeah.
just an amazing performer.
Yeah.
They both are.
So
Like-
do you have a full outfit like they have as well? I know that their
They
outfits
bring it
like,
along,
quite a-
and,
and they give you've got one that you wear.
I get the hat when I turn up.
You
and
get
the
the
jacket.
hat. You get the hat. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't realize how much of a square I am until I'm with those guys. And
Yeah,
like,
because they're
what's
wearing the
up?"
whole outfit.
Yeah, they got
you
like
need
crazy
to-
gold
They
cheetah
need to
pants
have you
on.
like a full outfit, I reckon.
Yeah.
For the
And that's
the full Sharif D
a,
experience.
and they're amazing performers, and like they put it out there, and they work really hard at what they do. But yeah, that and like we get other musos on board. Darren's a trumpeter. Wilma, amazing cellist. Like
Yeah.
just these gun people are doing what they do.
Yeah.
We make it coordinate and work.
Yeah.
So that group, but I'm more of a hired gun. Well, not hired, I don't want to use that word, but I they're the main dudes.
Yeah.
And they bring us on for those live performances.
Yeah.
And I might do some recordings. You never know in
Yeah.
the future with them. So is that. I also do my solo stuff just as Sharif D. Got
Yeah.
tracks coming out with a mate of mine called Buster.
When are you doing a duet with Kenny G?
He doesn't return my call.
He hasn't returned. You're like, I've sent him heaps of like solos, and he's not keen.
I've never been a Kenny fan, man.
You're not a Kenny fan?
Oh, he's
Do you
he's
have
good at what he
any-
does.
I don't really know any other saxophonists, professional saxophonists. Do you have any favorite saxophonists?
To be honest, I'm one of those horrible sax players. I don't really listen to other sax players as much.
I don't really know many. Kenny
I'm a-
G's the only one I know who's a sax player.
I like the golden old players, like
Yeah.
John Coltrane, but like my favorite horn player is a goddamn trumpeter, Miles Davis.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, of course.
But it's more the interpretation of
yeah,
jazz. There's a lot, but I have recently, because we've all got this time, I've been
Yeah.
looking into who's doing what, and there's like just gun players everywhere.
I know that's the problem. Like,
I'm like, oh wow, they're
this is
amazing.
what
They're amazing.
annoys me about music is like we will never hear the best musicians, whatever the instrument it is that they play.
Mm.
Like we'll never hear the best piano player. We'll
Well,
never hear the best trumpet player. Like, you know,
Can you
in our
define
time.
the best though? That's the thing.
But but are
Like
they
technically the best, or
But that's what I mean. Like the best. Like there's so many musicians nowadays that
Yeah.
it's like it's so hard to find who is the best.
yeah,
You know, like because the best
is it the best?
the best guitar player is not going to be in any band that makes any popular, you know,
Yeah.
success. He'll just be some dude who like just sits in his fucking house and just noodles around on guitar and it's
Yeah,
just
goes,
a,
"Oh, I shouldn't do a gig. You know, no,
yeah,
no one
and it's
understand
just
it.
an absolute like champion at it.
Yeah.
But like just he never plays. You know what I mean? Like there's that many
Yeah.
good musicians out there in the world that we're never going to hear that person who would be the best.
That's a daunting thing for you.
Well, not really. I'm just.
Well, like
I just feel like there's always something better out there.
Yeah.
That you haven't heard because of whatever reason.
well, that's a good hunger. to have.
Politics.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh
they
yeah,
didn't
like
get the right break.
you still got to make it work live. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I get up there and play jazz to people
Yeah.
because I don't think most people want to hear something really full on and technical
Yeah.
the whole time. Not saying that can't be beautiful music.
Yeah.
But I find my own way around it and try and absorb parts of everything
Yeah.
to make up just your own personality in music.
Yeah.
Which is the hardest thing, but I think the most important thing to aspire to. And it's a really hard thing to acquire.
Yeah.
Like I got my heroes in music, but most of them are dead.
Yeah. Most of it dead. That's it.
But
That's
there's
the
still
best way for it to
genius
be.
coming out right now,
Yeah.
which is the great thing about today. Because like just mucking around on Spotify last night, found these guns in like Scandinavia, New York,
Yeah.
like, and they got their own little scenes going on there. But most
Yeah.
people, you try and tell them about it, like, meh,
Yeah. Whatever.
was it on the Nova or something? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Yeah, man. I understand that so hard. So, all right. So we got Sax Drive. We got Date Night.
Mood swing, Chevy
Mood Swing,
bass,
Chevy Bass.
and just solo
Sharif D
Sharif
stuff.
D with my mate Adam Buster.
Oh, Buster, you and Buster may do some
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
We it's a bit more like
You just
Anthony
had a
pop.
feature on his podcast recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good mates as well.
Yeah.
So we got a few things cooking. We should have a track getting released at the end of July.
Oh man, I'm gonna
Oh,
have
no,
to.
August.
I'm gonna have to send you some tracks to do
Yeah.
some sax over. Let's do it.
Oh, it's gonna cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of money, so we'll see what happens.
Do it for the love, bro.
That's it. All right, man. Thanks for coming in.
Oh.
You know, I'll put all the links in the description and stuff so people can find you. But
Yeah.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much, man.
So good to have a little chat and get to know each other a bit better. You know, I
Yeah.
usually only see you in the club
yeah, we
just randomly for like a minute or something when in
Yelling at
between
each
you
other.
playing a, hey man, how's your night going? Yeah, good. With your sax there. Yeah,
like,
so-
oh, okay, I gotta do the thing.
yeah, I got to do
Yeah,
the thing.
man.
All right, I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah.
See ya.
I think I just yells and gets drinks the whole time.
So yeah, thanks for coming in, man.
I loved
Really
it.
good,
Thank you.
Chats and yeah, everyone go check out Sharif's stuff. 3 tracks in the next month or so, or whatever you said. 2
Track a
months?
month, basically.
Track a month,
Yeah.
next 3 months. So make sure you guys go check that out. And
Thank you.
thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks, man. Had a great time.
All right, see you guys later.